For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The founder of World Central Kitchen is calling for an independent investigation into the Israeli bombings of his organization's aid workers who were killed this week. Chef Jose Andres is joining the calls of two Mideast media outlets reporting the Israeli strikes on his workers were targeted.
The airstrikes on our convoy, I don't think were an unfortunate mistake. It was really a direct attack on a clearly marked vehicles, whose movements were known by everybody at the IDF.
In a statement issued today, the food charity says it's asked Australia, Canada, Poland, the United States, and United Kingdom, whose citizens were among those killed, to join them in demanding an independent third-party investigation into the attacks. Israel says it's carried out the strikes by mistake and that it has launched its own investigation. U.S. President Joe Biden will speak with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. In the United Kingdom, protests have sprung up at arms manufacturers after the Campaign Against Arms Trade said the weapons used to kill the aid convoy may have been made with parts from the UK by Elbit. Protesters blocked entrances to its facilities.
Free, free, free Palestine!
And in London, healthcare workers blocked entrances to the National Health Service's headquarters, demanding it cancel a contract with Planetair, U.S. tech company that provides spy technology to Israel's military. More than 600 British jurists, including retired Supreme Court justices, are calling on the UK government to suspend arms sales to Israel. The move adds pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak after the deaths of 3 UK aid workers who were part of the World Central Kitchen convoy. In an open letter to Sunak published late Wednesday, the lawyers and judges said the UK could be complicit in grave breaches of international law if it continues to ship weapons. NATO, the Western military alliance, is celebrating its 75th anniversary today. NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg Wednesday said they're working on a long-term funding plan for Ukraine.
Today, allies have agreed to move forward with planning for a greater NATO role in coordinating security assistance and training. The details will take shape in the weeks to come. But make no mistake, Ukraine can rely on NATO support now and for the long haul.
FSN's Ishan Garg reports concerns Donald Trump could win the U.S. presidency spurred that plan.
The potential of Trump's return to the U.S. presidency is clouding talks between the allies. He's been dismissive of the alliance and berated members who don't hit their funding targets. In response, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is proposing a $100 billion fund for Ukraine. The plan would also give control to Ukrainian aid to NATO rather than leave it to the U.S. amid fears Trump could stop aid to the country. Officials say final decisions about the plans will not be reached until the NATO Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. in July.
Ishan Garg.
Authorities say a nighttime Russian attack using Iranian-designed drones have killed 4 people and wounded 12 in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city. The Kremlin's forces in recent months have stepped up their aerial barrages of Ukraine, hitting urban areas and the power grid. President Joe Biden and Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont are joining forces to take on Big Pharma and cut prescription drug prices. The president and his sometime critic from the left held a joint news conference where they praised each other's leadership on health care issues this election year. Biden announced a cap on out-of-pocket costs for asthma inhalers, and Sanders is promising to introduce legislation to enact Biden's proposed cap on prescription costs, limiting expenses to $2,000 a year. Christopher Martinez reports.
President Joe Biden proposed a cap of $2,000 a year.
We're here today to talk about how we're lowering prices and cracking down on unfair competition in prescription drugs. I'm a capitalist. Capitalism, though, without competition isn't capitalism, it's exploitation. That's what's going on. Exploitation.
Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is ready to help.
We can no longer tolerate companies like Novo Nordisk charging the American people $1,000 a month for Ozempic, a drug that costs less than $5 to manufacture, when that same exact product is sold in Germany for $59. $1,000 in America, $59 in Germany, unacceptable.
This being an election season, President Biden took the opportunity to launch a few barbs at his Republican opponent, Donald Trump. He mentioned Trump bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade. He also talked about Trump exploding the deficit with his $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthy. I'm Christopher Martinez.
I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.